Hey everybody, good morning. I feel like it's been so long since I've seen you. Um, I took a teeny tiny little trip away to see my baby girl for her birthday. She turned 21. She's in DC in school, so that was nice. Um, so I'm back and ready to go. So this is our first live reading class since last Wednesday, a whole week. So I hope everybody is well. Hope you're enjoying the fall weather. Some people like these cool um, mornings. I do not. It's supposed to be 70 this afternoon. That's more like it. I am not a cold weather child, but it is nice. I went for a little walk when I got home yesterday. The afternoons are good right now, but have you noticed that it's getting darker? Whew. So be going to work in the dark, coming home in the dark. And then the babies are out there. I'm not crazy about that. I don't know how you feel, but I'm not crazy about the babies. You know, they have to walk in the street or stand in the streets or whatever. My daughter used to have to walk down our street. It was dark, you know. I wasn't too keen on that. But to everything, there is a season, right? And a purpose. You heard that before. To everything, there is a season. So everything must change. Nothing stays the same. So here we are. It's 11:30. Let's get started on reading. Um, so what I was started talking about last week were ways to get understanding when you're looking at your essay and they have words that are unfamiliar, or if you're looking at technical writing like you might see in science or social studies, what are some different ways to gain understanding of the word? So, what we talked about last week was reading by context, looking at the words that are around that word to get synonyms, um, if it's or to get the opposite meaning, but just clues that are there for us. So, what we're still going to talk about are context clues. And so let's start talking about what that means. I'm going to share my screen with you. Share a screen. There we go. I'm going to start talking about different types of context clues. There you go. You going to let me have it? Thank you. So, we're going to talk about different types of context clues. All right. Let me also make this a little bit bigger. So there are four types of context clues. And one way to find out the meaning of an unfamiliar word is to examine the context or the situation in which the word appears. So I'm over here. So you can look at the definition or explanation clues, and sometimes a word's meaning is defined immediately following its use. So, for example, this word etymology, which is the study of the origin of words, finds many teachers taking the bull by its horns when unraveling the mysteries of vocabulary studies. Etymology. Um, and so they gave us the actual definition. Then sometimes you'll see the word being restated in more simple language, or you'll see a synonym. So here's our example. Something putrid or rotten smelling is in the bottom of the garbage can. So we use the word putrid, and then we used a synonym for putrid, which is rotten smelling, to tell me what that word means. Sometimes you'll get an antonym contrast clue, meaning the word is clarified or made clear by giving you the opposite meaning somewhere close to where it's used. Look for signal words when applying context clues. Let's 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 look at this. So the example, Lou thought that her mother's recovery was futile, but signal word, pay attention. Oz remained faithful to the course of his mother's restored health. The signal word but tells the reader that an opposite contrasting thought is occurring. So Lou thought her mother's recovery was futile, that she was not going to get better, but Oz remained faithful. So that tells us what the word futile means, right? Without hope. Without hope. Now, here we have an inference when a word is not directly stated. So relationships are implied or inferred, meaning you have to look for clues within, before, and after the sentence in which the word is used. So let's listen to this example. Lou, I'm sorry, Dementia almost overcame Lou when she stepped off the train at Rainwater Ridge and felt as crazy as a bed bug as she realized how different her new life would be. So, dementia can be defined as being insane because the phrase crazy as a bed bug indicates insanity. You say somebody is crazy as a bed bug, you know, crazy, right? Not all there. So if someone has dementia, you're thinking of them as not being in their right mind, right? Okay, so those are some clues. Now there's some other kinds, and we've seen these. This is kind of a review for those of us who've been hanging in here all along. We can use connotations and denotations. What's she talking about? Well, I'm about to tell you. A denotation is the word's dictionary definition, its literal definition. For example, the word snake, a limbless reptile without limbs, arms, or legs, with a long, scaly body, right? And then you have a connotation. And so that's a word that can make you think or feel a certain way. So, a connotation are the feelings and ideas, the shades of meaning that can be understood differently. So, a connotation is what we associate. Okay, for example, if we call someone a snake in the grass, right? That's the thing you think of the biblical serpent, the danger of poisonous snakes, our own fear of snakes, or evil, bad. A person might be called a snake, just a straight up snake, right? That's a connotation. And so we have obviously then positive, neutral, and negative connotations. A positive connotation makes you think good things. Being on the track has made Alan slender and lean, so that is attractive to us. A neutral connotation, you don't feel anything either way. Being on the track has made Alan thin. We didn't say how good we felt about it, how attractive it was, how unappealing it was. We're just giving an observation. So if I say this though, being on the track has made Alan skinny and scrawny. Who likes scrawny, right? Look, at my mouth is twisted automatically. Unattractively thin. So connotations can be positive, neutral, no particular feeling one way or another, or negative, right? So we have different ways of finding meaning in words that are not familiar to us. So now let's apply this. I want to take a look at a newspaper article that is in the New York Times, And again, how do we become stronger readers? By reading. And if you haven't already, I want you to read the New York Times, the Washington Post, the LA Times. They're going to kick you out after so many articles, probably 5 articles, but then you get to come back in. So you can hop around. It's what I do. And the Democrat and Chronicle. That's our local paper. But I want you to read papers from different viewpoints. So let's take a look at this picture first. If you are aware right now, the state of Texas has passed a law that women cannot have an abortion under any circumstances, including if the mother's life is in danger or if the baby has no chance of survival or normal development. So no matter where you come down on abortion, that is considered harsh and against women's rights to choose and also to live. What is happening now that's coming out of this is that even women who miscarry now can face charges of manslaughter. And it is happening. It is happening right now. So let's take a look at this article. There is no assignment other than to read it. So we'll start it together and I'm going to let you finish. More and more laws are treating a fetus as a person and a woman as less of one, as states charge pregnant women with crimes. And there are so many days in the fetal development where the cells will start to organize, but they're not organs yet. However, Texas has gone past that time where it's just cells, a group of cells, and calling it a baby. And this is what is causing women to be charged with crimes. So, this is an opinion, A Woman's Rights, by the editorial board. So, they represent a group of editors for this newspaper. And the pictures were taken by Damon Winter. So, we always read everything for context clues, right? You saw a picture of a pregnant woman. She's turned her face away. She's hiding her face, is in shame or in pain. It's hard to say what that picture means, but let's take a look. This article is from 2018, but it's more relevant now or important now because of the laws in Texas, which are going to go to the Supreme Court. So you might be surprised to learn that in the United States, a woman coping with the heartbreak of losing her pregnancy might also find herself facing jail time. Say she got in a car accident in New York or gave birth to a stillborn in Indiana. In such cases, women have been charged with manslaughter. In fact, a fetus need not die for the state to charge a pregnant woman with a crime. Women who fell down the stairs, who ate a poppy seed bagel and failed a drug test, and yes, that can happen, or who took legal drugs during pregnancy, drugs prescribed by their doctors, have all been accused of endangering their children. Such cases are rare. There have been several hundred of them since the Supreme Court issued its decision ratifying or making legal abortion rights in Roe versus Wade in 1973. But they illuminate a deep shift in American society away from a centuries long tradition in Western law and toward the embrace of a relatively new concept that a fetus in the womb has the same rights as a fully formed person, as a child, as an adult, as the mother, the one carrying, incubating the fetus. So, this idea has now worked its way into federal and state regulations and the thinking of police officers and prosecutors, and even people who know of women who are pregnant, who are not related to them. So, as it is done so, it has begun to not only extend rights to clusters of cells that have not yet developed into viable human beings, but to also erode the existing rights of a particular class of people, women. Women who are pregnant have found themselves stripped of the right to consent to surgery, the right to receive treatment for a medical condition, and even something as basic as the freedom to hold a baby in the moments after birth. How the idea of fetal rights gained currency is a story of social reaction to the Roe decision, and more broadly, to a perceived new permissiveness in the 1970s, combined with a determined, sophisticated campaign by the anti abortion movement to affirm the notion of fetal personhood in law and to degrade Roe's protections. Political ambition has also played a powerful role. Out of concern for individual freedom, the Republican Party once treated abortion as a private matter. When Ronald Reagan was governor of California, he signed one of the most liberal abortion laws in the land in 1967. As late as 1972, a Gallup poll found that 68% of Republicans thought that the decision to have an abortion should be made by a woman and her doctor, and only her woman and her doctor. But after Roe, a handful of Republican strategists recognized in abortion an explosively emotional issue that could motivate evangelical voters and divide Democrats. So in 1980, as Ronald Reagan ran for president, he raised the cause high and he framed it in terms of the unborn with the regard to the freedom of the individual for choice with regard to abortion. There's one individual who is not considered at all, and that's the one who is being aborted, he said in a debate that year. And I've noticed that everybody that is for abortion has already been born. Okay. Um, the crack epidemic in the late 80s and early 90s also had the effect of popularizing the idea of fetal rights. This is important here. Many Americans became seized with the fear fanned by racism. And as it turned out, this was false, that crack addicted Black mothers in the inner cities were giving birth to a generation of damaged and vicious children. This false fear supplied considerable force to the idea that the interests of the fetus could come in conflict with the woman carrying it, and that the woman may have forfeited any claim on society's protection. Indeed, if a baby was born to a crack addicted mother, the mother would not be allowed to hold the baby, it would be taken immediately. So, the creation of the legal scaffolding for the idea that the fetus is a person has been the steady work of the anti abortion movement at the national level and in every state. Today, at least 38 laws and the federal government have so called fetal homicide laws, and which treat the fetus as a potential crime victim, separate and apart from the woman who carries it. This movement has pressed for dozens of other measures to at least affirm the idea that the fetus is a person, such as laws to issue birth certificates for stillborn fetuses or to deny pregnant women the freedom to make end of life decisions for themselves. Some of these laws are also intended to create a basis for challenging and eventually overturning Roe. Fast forward. So, in the hands of zealot prosecutors, cautious doctors, and litigious attorneys that like to sue, these laws are creating a system of social control that polices pregnancy, as the editorials in this series show. Because of the newly fortified majority on the Supreme Court, such laws are likely to multiply and the control to become more pervasive. whether or not Roe is overturned. So that is the article. And I'm quite sure you're going to have to go back and read it yourself. And I want you to underline difficult words or write them on your notebook and then see if you can define them by looking at the words around. Look for context clues and connotations. So that's all we have for today. If you want to submit any work to me, my email address is on Google Classroom. When you first look, it's there in white letters. My phone number is there as well. Please let me know how you're doing. These are the kinds of things that you're going to see on the task test. So they are sometimes difficult, but this is all in preparing you to get there and get over that hump. So let me know how we're doing, okay? And everyone be well, and I'll see you on Friday. Take care.